Chapter 1. The Note and the Noise. Theo's world had a soundtrack. It was a chaotic, beautiful mess of indie rock, melancholic piano ballads, and the occasional guilty pleasure pop song. His headphones were his shield, a way to navigate the loud, overwhelming hallways of Northwood High without having to actually engage with anyone. He was the quiet artist, the boy who always had a sketchbook under his arm and a faint smudge of charcoal on his cheek. Adam, on the other side of the same crowded hallway, was all contained energy. Dressed in a crisp polo shirt, he laughed easily. With the debate team, his posture perfect, his smile bright. But if you looked closely, you'd see the slight tension in his jaw, the way his eyes sometimes drifted away from the conversation, lost in a thought he couldn't share. He was the dutiful son, the aspiring engineer, the one following a map laid out by his parents long before he knew how to read it. Their paths rarely crossed until Mr. Davison's music appreciation class. It was the one elective that had fit. Both their schedules, a class filled with the gentle clatter of xylophones and the soft hum of old recordings. One Tuesday, as Theo packed up his things, a folded square of notebook paper fluttered out of his textbook and onto the floor. He picked it up, expecting a discarded sketch. Instead, in neat, precise handwriting, it read, "You always have your headphones on. I wonder what you're listening to. I made this for you. No need to know who I am. Just listen." Below was a link to a digital playlist titled "For the Quiet Artist in the Back Row." Theo's heart did a funny little stutter. For him? He looked around the emptying classroom. Adam was at the front, discussing the Baroque period with Mr. Davison, his gestures animated. Theo quickly shoved the note into his pocket, a secret, warmth spreading through his chest. That night, curled up in his bed, he clicked the link. The first song was a gentle, acoustic piece about seeing the world in shades of gray and color. The second was an energetic rock anthem about breaking free. The third, a lyrical, beautiful song about a boy who felt invisible. Every song felt like a message, like someone had peeked inside his soul and composed a score for it. It was the most seen he had ever felt. The next day, he arrived early to music class. His heart hammered against his ribs as he scribbled on a fresh piece of paper. "Whoever you are, thank you. It's perfect. Here's one for you. I don't know who you are either, but I tried." He'd created a playlist called "For the Person," with the quiet thoughts. He slipped the note onto the desk where he'd found the first one and quickly took his seat, pretending to be engrossed in his phone. Adam found the note just before the bell rang. A slow smile spread across his face, a genuine one that reached his eyes. He discreetly pocketed it, a new lightness in his step. The game had begun. Chapter 2. A symphony of words weeks turned into a secret exchange. Every Tuesday, a new playlist would appear. They became their most anticipated moment of the week. Theo's playlists for his mysterious admirer were raw and emotional. He sent songs about hidden dreams for the dreamer, about the weight of expectations, heavy crown, and about the quiet hope of finding someone who understands, a single spark. He was pouring parts of himself into these digital mixtapes that he never dared speak aloud. Adam, in turn, was equally thoughtful. He created playlists built around themes of courage, be brave, of finding beauty in small details, look closer, and one simply titled, "You Are Not Alone." For Adam, this anonymous exchange was a lifeline. It was the one place he could be honest without the fear of disappointing anyone. He could share the classical pieces his father loved alongside the heartfelt folk songs he secretly adored, a musical representation of his own divided self. They started adding little notes to the playlists. Theo wrote, "Track 4 always makes me think of the rain on the windows in class. It looks like a painting," Adam replied on his next playlist. "I knew you'd notice that. I see it too." They began noticing each other in the hallway, though they didn't know it. Theo would see Adam laughing with his friends and think, he seems so sure of himself. I wonder what his quiet thoughts are. Adam would see Theo sketching by the lockers and think, he looks so peaceful. I wonder what song he's listening to. They were building a bridge between them, made entirely of melodies and whispered confessions in the margins of their lives. Chapter 3. The Crack in the Perfect Picture. The strain was starting to show on Adam. His father was pressuring him about college applications, insisting on a specific top-tier engineering school. Music is a hobby, Adam, not a life, he'd said over dinner, making Adam's passion feel small and insignificant. He came to school tense and withdrawn. That Tuesday, his playlist for The Quiet Artist was late. He'd been up all night, studying, his headphones silent. He felt like a fraud, the boy in the hallway everyone thought had it all together, while inside he was crumbling under expectations. Theo noticed. The usually polished Adam seemed distracted, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. During music class, Theo took a risk. On a scrap of paper, he wrote a single line. Rough day. Track 7 on my new playlist is for that. It helps me. Hope it helps you. He didn't sign it, just left it on the usual desk. Adam found it. His throat tightened. How did this stranger, who didn't even know his name, see his struggle when his own friends didn't? He listened to the playlist that night. Track 7 was a soft instrumental piece, full of hope and resilience. He played it on a loop, and for the first time all week he felt like he could breathe. The next day he sought out Theo's eyes in the hallway and gave him a small, grateful nod. Theo, surprised, nodded back with a shy smile. The anonymous connection was suddenly, terrifyingly, becoming real. Chapter 4. The Final Note. The anonymous exchange couldn't last forever. The school year was winding down, and the pressure of not knowing was becoming too much for both of them. Theo decided his next playlist would be his last message. He titled it, I Would Like to Know You. The note he wrote was longer, his handwriting messier than usual. Whoever you are, this game has meant everything to me. You've made me feel less alone. I'll be at the old bandstand in Riverside Park on Saturday at noon. I'll have my headphones on. If you're the one, come say hi. If not, that's okay too. Thank you for the music. The quiet artist, he left the note, his heart feeling like it was going to beat out of his chest. Adam found it. Panic and exhilaration warred within him. This was it. The secret was about to be revealed. What if it was someone he didn't expect? What if it was Theo, the quiet, talented boy he'd secretly been watching for months? The thought was equally thrilling and terrifying. He had to go. He had to. Saturday arrived, cloudy and cool. Theo sat on the cold steps of the bandstand, his headphones on, listening to their very first playlist. He was nervously sketching the trees, trying to calm his racing heart. What if no one came? What if it was all a joke? He saw a figure approaching from the path. His breath caught. It was Adam. Adam, in a simple jacket and jeans, looking nervous and so different from his confident school persona. Adam stopped a few feet away. He pointed to his own ears, then to Theo's headphones. A silent question. Theo slowly pulled his headphones down, the music still faintly audible. Adam recognized the song. It was the first track from his very first playlist. For The Quiet Artist in the Back Row. A look of stunned understanding passed between them. The world seemed to fall silent. It was you? Theo whispered, his voice barely audible. A slow, amazed smile broke across Adam's face. All this time, it was you. They stood there. For a moment, just looking at each other. The mystery solved. A new one, just beginning. Chapter 5. A new song begins. The walk out of the park was nothing like the tense silence they'd shared in the hallways. It was filled with easy, relieved laughter and a torrent of words. "I can't believe it," Adam said, shaking his head. "The acoustic version of Gravity? That was my clue. I thought only I loved that version." "You noticed the rain on the windows," Theo countered, his face lit up with a joy he didn't try to hide. "No one ever notices things like that." They talked for hours at a small coffee shop, the playlists providing an endless source of conversation. They talked about their families, Theo's, supportive artist mother, and Adam's well-meaning but pressuring parents. They talked about their fears and their dreams. Adam confessed his love for music and his fear of telling his father he might want to study sound engineering instead of mechanical engineering. Theo talked about his dream of going to art school and his anxiety about putting his work out into the world. The music had been the key that unlocked the door. Now, they were walking through it together. It wasn't always easy. Adam still had difficult conversations with his parents ahead of him. Theo still had moments of self-doubt, but they faced them with a new strength because they no longer had to face them alone. They had a duet instead of a solo. On the last day of school, they found themselves back in the empty music room. The setting sun streamed through the windows. "So," Adam said, pulling out his phone, "what's next on the playlist?" Theo smiled, leaning his head on Adam's shoulder. "I think we make it together now." And they did. They created a new playlist, not as secret admirers, but as Adam and Theo. It was titled Our First Song. It was a mix of his rock and his classical, her indie and his folk, a perfect, harmonious blend, just like them. Their story was a testament to the quiet power of a shared language. Bye.